Greetings, island rape survivors. I have an interesting one here for you today. Last night, out of nowhere, a contact of mine on Discord reached out and said, "Hey, we're having a conversation over on my Discord server. Why don't you come join us?" So I did. Little did I know, what was about to ensue was a 2-hour-long debate with something like 30 people in the voice chat, and that I was going to be taking point on defending anarchy versus a bunch of accusations from the point of statism. This was a First Amendment auditor server, so these are people that in their day-to-day activism meet the abuses of non-consensual government and its enforcers face to face. So these people are more apt and more poised and more closely able to understand a lot of the arguments than the general public. So I was delighted to participate in the conversation. I appreciate getting the invite. What you're about to hear is not the full 2-hour conversation, though we can make that available if that's something that you're interested in. This is going to be about the last 15 minutes of it, where it all sort of came to a head. Also, shout out to Cabo, our second Bitbacker supporter, which is awesome. I love to see supporters on the cryptocurrency support platform that is bitbacker.io. You can check out our link to that in the description. It's on our website, disenthrall.me/platforms. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to see more of it, hit the subscribe button. Enjoy.
You believe that you can form your own cluster outside of the bounds of government. I don't think you can.
I am a cluster of one, and I do exist outside of the bounds of government. It is the idea in a lot of humans' brains that think that I don't, yours included. I'm here to tell you you're wrong, and I don't consent, and I'd wish you'd stop it and leave me alone, because you don't have the right to control me by force. I would never do that to you. I would invite you to elevate your discourse. I would invite you to elevate your ethical standing in life, to not control me.
And there's the rub. You think you're outside the bounds and reach of government. You're not.
My consent says that I am. And there's only one person in the world that can know the state of my consent. Not you or not anyone that calls themselves government. And I'm telling you that I disconsent. I do not consent. I withdraw my consent to be governed by you and anyone else.
And I guess the only way to falsify my premise would be for you to be arrested, tried, and convicted, right?
That would just be a gang of people controlling me, much the same way the cartels control people in Mexico right now. It doesn't make it just. The fact that it happens in reality, as you keep referring to, the fact that it happens and is the current state of things does not make it right, moral, just, or not evil.
By your definition, by my definition, it is good, right, just, and moral.
Well, I still don't know your definition, because you wouldn't tell me the number of people it takes to override your consent.
It is the number equal to the current members of Congress.
So, back in time, before the Constitution was signed, how many people would it have taken to override your consent?
You mean under the Articles of Confederation?
Let's say even before that. How many people would it have taken to override your consent? How many human minds does it take to nullify your self-ownership? Is the question I've been trying to get an answer to for an hour and a half. You don't want to answer it because there is no other answer than none. Nobody can override your consent.
Because you
own yourself. I own myself. You consent to what happens to you, and I consent to what happens to me.
The question, because you haven't framed the question in a way that I would accept.
Are your feet hurting? The tap dancing going on in here is insane. It is off the chain.
Prior to the Articles of Confederation, we were colonies of Great Britain.
So how many people?
So we've gone full circle again. This goes back to when I try to clarify.
Would you like to go all the way back to Hammurabi?
I mean, this goes back when Humphrey, one of the things I jumped in the conversation, I try to clarify. You keep trying to say that you will only, this is what I'm hearing, correct me if I'm wrong, that you only accept a situation or evaluate an argument or even answer a question if it's within the framework of a government.
Because that's how elections and decisions work.
So if me and you and one other person found ourselves stranded on an island with no pre-existing government, would it just take me and my friend to write up a new constitution to control you? Would I need 10 other people with me? How many people?
No, if there's 3 people, we would decide on conflict. And if 2 of you decided, well, we're only going to have coconuts on Tuesdays and we're going to fish on Fridays, well, then yes.
So me and one other person can erase your consent. It just takes one other person. Can I do it by myself? Like, if it's just me and you, can I just decide? Like, where does 2 people get the right to violate your consent that one person doesn't have?
Well, if it's you and me, how would you enforce your will?
It doesn't matter. We're talking about what I have the right to do. If it's just me and you, can I ever in any way gain the right to force my will on you?
If you're sufficiently strong, sure you can.
Oh, it might makes right. I'm not talking about what I can do, what I can like literally grab you and force you to do. I'm talking about what I get the moral right to do. Can I get, just me and you on an island, can I get the moral right to control you, to violate your consent? Of course the answer is no.
If you have sufficient force, yes, you can.
So force determines what's right.
Because you will self-justify the moral basis to take that control.
We're not talking about me. I'm talking about for you, in your opinion, for your body. Can I control you?
Well, you're using I and me, so...
I'm asking for your opinion. Can I get your opinion at some point today? Can I get the right? How can I ever get the right to force my will on you, me and you on an island, no government, no constitution?
The moral right.
I would if your decision making is superior to mine, I would consent with that.
That's not what I'm talking about.
No, that's an objective standard. If your
point.
decision making is better than mine, it would be in my best interest to accept your decision making.
So consent. Consent is the only moral way that one person can do their will onto another is with their consent. Without consent, can you think of...
Yes, because as you scale up, individual consent becomes impractical.
No. Dude, me and you are on an island.
That's why we go to... That's why... And
me
how
and
about
you
if we have...
are on an island.
How about if we have 2,000? What if we...
This is how argument...
What
this
if we...
is how
What if
logic
we...
works.
What if we populate
You
that
start
item?
small and build.
Okay, and let's
And
scale
you know
it
where
up.
I'm
Let's
going, which is
scale-
why you don't want to
let's
answer
scale
this
it up.
super simple question. Me and you on an island. Can I violate your consent in your opinion? Can I get the moral right to violate your consent, to do something against your consent on that island, me and you?
Sure, because you will create the moral justification to take that force.
And that's okay with you on this island. You'd be okay with that.
If you have sufficient power to enforce what you determine to be a moral and ethical decision...
I'm only concerned
yes.
with what you think is right.
No, it's right in your perspective.
No, I'm asking for your opinion. Your opinion. Is there any way that I could have the right to control you against your consent on an island?
Yes, I said yes, you can, because you will create the moral justification to use force to impose your will. So yes.
And in your opinion, that would be okay.
That would be accepting reality.
So if me and you are on an island, you would be okay with me controlling you.
What he's saying is if you were on an island, he's going to control you.
I know that's what he's saying. he knows where he knows where step 2 of this logic goes. That's why he's not wanting to answer step 1.
I don't have any other way to. I don't have any other way to answer it. If you have sufficient force to impose your will on me, you will create the moral construct that makes it ethical, and you will enforce your control.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I do or what I think or how much power I have.
That's reality.
The question is, do I have the right to do it? In your mind, in your opinion, do I have the moral right to do it?
Yeah, reality suggests yes, you do.
In your opinion, do I have the moral right to do it?
Yes, within the framework that I've just articulated, yes.
Okay, so government is entirely superfluous. I can just come to your house right now, and as long as I can overpower you, do whatever the hell I want. And you'd be okay with that.
And that's the hallmark of criminality, isn't it?
No. It's not a crime because you're okay with it.
No, Humphrey's a criminal.
It's not a crime if you're okay with it, my friend. Sorry, I shouldn't say my friend. That's disingenuous. You're not my friend.
Yeah. Now scale your premise up to 1 million people.
I don't need to. You already lost. I get to do whatever I want to you, and you're okay with it. You consent.
And once you scale it, then your premise, your logic, your ethics break into chaos. And
I don't know, man. If everybody agrees,
there's already chaos.
Do whatever they want to you. That's pretty good.
There's chaos on the island. We're already in chaos on the island. I do whatever I want, and it's not a crime. You're okay with it because you say I have the right to.
And you don't see the problem with that.
That is a thing that someone says when they don't have something to say.
No, once you reach to scale, it becomes impractical. Your premise is impractical today. It'll be impractical tomorrow, and it's been impractical from the beginning of society. It's just
you're dodging by arguing a point that we left an hour ago. We're talking about me and you on an island and having the right to do whatever I want to you, and you're okay with it. I'm rubbing this in because of how absurd it is. Everyone that is listening to this is chuckling to themselves right now.
You're doing it by force.
No, I'm not. You're letting me do it because I have the rightful, just authority to do it.
No, because...
I don't. I don't have the rightful, just authority to do it.
The construct I created was you have the ability to put in motion the force, and you will create the moral authority. Is the reverse of your
words
argument.
Are no longer forming coherent sentences, sir. I am saying it's me and you on an island. In your opinion, how is there ever a way in which I could get the moral right to control you against your consent?
Yes, and I said you would create the moral construct, and if you have sufficient force, you will do with.
I'm not involved in your opinion of what right I have to control you.
Like you understand you're using the pronoun I and me, right?
I am trying to get your opinion on if I have the right to violate your consent.
If you have,
and all you keep saying,
and if you have sufficient force, you will create the moral construct that gives you the justification to apply that force. Is that clear? Is that not clear?
No, it's a non sequitur. You keep referring to what is in my head on the island when I'm asking for what's in your head.
Humphrey, are you saying that if you can do something, then it's justifiable to do it? Just because somebody has the ability to do the thing, to apply the force, then it's justifiable?
Tribalism suggests that is the case.
We're not asking tribalism, we're asking what you think, what you believe. Do you believe that it's justified? Because somebody has the ability to rape you, are they justified in raping you on the island? It's just you and one other guy.
You're asking if criminality is okay?
Rape is not even possible. It's self-contradictory. If I want to have sex with him, I just do it, and it's not rape because I can. That's his argument. If I can do it, if I have sufficient force to do it, then I can have sex with him, and it's not rape.
Right. Yeah. So let's not use a term that he just with crimes and laws. If he wants to have sex with you, and you don't want him to have sex, and he does it anyway, is he justified in having sex?
Is it moral?
As I opined, if he has sufficient force, then he can do with what he will.
So rape doesn't exist. How about murder? Can murder exist on the island, or is it just me assisting your suicide when I want to kill you?
If you have sufficient force to do that, you will.
Okay. And this is when we talk about a concept called triage. There are people out in the world in which you will attempt to have great philosophical conversations with, and you will hit a dead end where a person says that rape and murder don't exist, and you just got to let it go. You have to move on to other people.
Wild.
You have to move on to other people where your time can be more valuable and more useful in the world. We have left reason. This is no longer a productive conversation.